The credit card points and miles game is constantly getting devalued, from the credit cards themselves to airline programs, and now most recently, hotel programs are getting devalued faster and faster the more time that goes on. And recently, just as 2 weeks ago, Hilton Honors has seen one of the largest devaluations in all of its history, with award charts and award redemptions for a single night skyrocketing, they say, up to 250,000 points for a single night, leaving a lot of people wondering, is Hilton Honors a program we should even be spending time on any longer? Are these points really just absolutely useless? Is it even worth getting Hilton credit cards, transferring American Express points to Hilton Honors any longer? And to me, the answer is simple. Absolutely yes. Based on a recent experience in Italy, staying in some of the nicest hotels that Italy has to offer, I want to showcase exactly how I've been able to multiply the value of my Hilton Honors points and all of the back end value that you get by being a Hilton Honors member, and all the value that you get back at these properties once you actually get there, that the same can't necessarily be said for some other hotel chains out there. I absolutely love Hilton, and this is why. Firstly, you might be wondering, Anthony, how are you able to multiply the value of a single Hilton Honors point? I know a lot of people out in the world tell you, oh, they're worth zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.6 cents per point, meaning that every 100,000 Hilton Honors points you have are worth maybe $500 in cash value. But I found a way, I found a little bit of a sweet spot in order to get closer to 1,000 or even $1,500 in value for that same amount of points. The sweet spot starts here with something called the small luxury hotel program. Now, if this looks familiar, it's because you've seen this in a different way. You used to see this many years ago with Hyatt because they actually had a partnership with this exact same small luxury hotel program, but at that time, Hyatt's redemptions were absolutely terrible, where most Hyatt properties, if you're redeeming them correctly, you usually can get 2, 3, 4 cents per point on average for whatever your stays are. Well, when you were redeeming your Hyatt points through small luxury hotels, you were getting closer to like 1 cent per point. On, in fact, most of the time it was around there. So it was never really worth using your Hyatt points for these specific amazing hotels. But since Hilton has recently, well, not necessarily recently, about a year ago, added this partnership, but it's still going very much under the radar. They have now had this partnership with small luxury hotels, and I've just found that they are incredibly more of a hidden gem and kind of a sweet spot in all of the credit card hotel points and miles game. And in just a little bit, I'll showcase two of these small luxury hotels that I recently just did in Italy, ones that had incredible rooms and incredible views, and one that literally was a stone throw away from the Coliseum. Absolutely freaking fantastic. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this specific program, let me give you a little bit of game here. Now, small luxury hotels literally is by the name. They are smaller, they are more luxurious, and they are hotels. Now, when I say small, I literally mean like pretty small. Most of these properties are anywhere between 10 rooms and maybe 50 rooms, with the average being, 25, 30, 35 rooms in the entire hotel, contrary to some of these hotels we have out and about. Like if you stay at a Conrad or a Waldorf Astoria with Hilton, you probably have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of rooms, meaning way more people, which means a less personalized experience for each individual guest that's staying there. And that's where this really shines with being small. Now, luxury, yes, most of these properties are much higher end. These are ones that range anywhere between 500 a night and $3,000 a night, and I've booked everywhere in between. And these are ones more often than not are actually a part of the Michelin Key Society. So just hotels that have been able to have afforded Michelin keys. You've heard of Michelin star with restaurants, well, Michelin Key for hotels. Now, most of these properties that fall under this SLH hotel program, if you go through and you actually double check them, most of them, a lot of them, not most, but a lot, are Michelin Key holders. In fact, I've been able to stay at 2 Michelin Key SLH hotels, and I will say the experience is unforgettable. So let me get this straight. You have a higher experience because these are Michelin Key hotels with insane levels of service. You have a more personalized experience because they're smaller, and, well, honestly, you don't have that many people on top of you. But where does the actual value for the points come in? Well, that actually comes in on the redemption themselves. Now, take the one in Rome, for example. I actually had booked 2 SLH properties, one being the Palazzo Manfredi, an SLH hotel overlooking the Colosseum, and the Palm Suite. I ended up canceling the Palazzo Manfredi Hotel and opted in for the Palm Suite, which they actually are sister properties to one another. I'll show you that there's little tricks to get a little bit added value just by this partnership, but I'll show you in just a second. So now check this out. So now this hotel right here, you can see for these particular nights, we're about 931 euros every single night for these particular dates. I think I chose, yeah, somewhere in October when it actually wasn't sold out. So view the rates and let's see what it actually is when we're looking at the taxes and fees. So we have the family forum room. I'm pretty sure I got upgraded to this room right here, the courtroom view, court view. But let's see what the actual cash is right here. So Hilton Honors rate, 931 euros. Let's see. And it looks like a total of 937 euros every single night of your stay. Now let's see what it actually costs to do with points only, Hilton Honors points. If we look right here, it looks like, well, it's sold out for points for night. One moment. So you can see right here, it's 100,000 Hilton Honors points every single night for this particular stay. And even though I can just search by US dollars, I'm just going to calculate it anyway because I like the actual, to see it on here. 937 euro to US dollar is $1,098.72 per night. So if we do a little bit of math here, $1,098 multiplied by 100 and divide by the amount of points needed, which is 100,000, we get to a cent per point of 1.98. So almost 1.1 cents per point on our first booking. Now, this is not exactly what I got. It was a little bit cheaper than this. I think mine was like a little bit under 1 cent per point. So it really just depends when you're looking at these certain properties or when you're booking. But this was a hotel that literally, yeah, was about $1,000 every single night, getting 1 cent per point, which is more than honestly double or about double what everyone else will tell you out in the world if you're just reading the forums and reading the blogs. Now, that's just one example of one SLH hotel. And again, this property was actually really freaking amazing because not only was it literally a 1 minute walk from the Coliseum and it had an amazing view, and I even recorded a whole video outside of it. This property is also pretty interesting because it has a gate with a key. So you have to actually get these keys right here, unlock the gate. They have the little concierge desk in the front, and then you go and be escorted all the way to your room. And our room, like I said, is this one right here. I guess it's the court view room, the Palm Suite. Very, very nice. And we did get upgraded for this particular night. Now, one thing that was really magical as you're looking at the room right here and the bed, and you could see they actually like arranged the towels and put some roses because it was our anniversary trip, or literally our honeymoon. So they wanted to make sure it was special for us. But again, that was a special touch that some of these SLH properties do because there's so few guests. I think we probably had like maybe 30 guests in this entire hotel, that they could have had this attention to detail and give us these rose petals and the towels, and they gave us a complimentary bottle of wine and also a little bit of snacks and whatnot and some chocolates. Really, really fantastic service, high level service at that. But one interesting thing, and now going into some more tactical stuff, is when you are booking an SLH program and you are booking through Hilton Honors, and if you have a card like the Amex Platinum card or maybe the Hilton Surpass or Hilton Aspire, you have what's considered Hilton Gold status or Hilton Diamond status. Now, this actually does a special thing at these particular properties. Well, one, it actually is written in the terms and conditions that when you're paying any cash price for these particular hotels, you still get the same amount of points back as you would a regular Hilton. So you're still getting your 80% boost on your base points. So 18 points per dollar spent for gold members and what have you, late checkout, upgrades, all these different things, fifth night free, all of this special perks that we love on our Hilton hotels we get with SLH hotels as well. But one magical thing is complimentary continental breakfast for two guests. Now, this is absolutely a game changer because, well, yes, standard Hilton hotels do give you this. If you just stayed at a Waldorf out there, okay, you're going to get complimentary continental breakfast as well. But I found with these SLHs, they go even above and beyond with their continental breakfast. And what I found, at least at this property specifically, if we wanted to pay for this breakfast, I'll show it on the screen right here, an entire tray, croissants and orange juice and yogurts and a million different things on this tray. We got it completely for free because we're gold status. If you wanted to pay for that, I think they said guests are paying 45 euro per person per night, or per day, I should say, for that same breakfast. So if you're somebody that, and actually I think we are these people that do want to eat breakfast while we're traveling because, well, Sometimes it's hard if you're doing tours and all these different things running around. It's hard to just find a place to pop in and come back out. You want to be able to just have some breakfast real quick. Okay, get up and do whatever. Especially since this property specifically doesn't have like an area for like buffet breakfast. They literally bring it to your room. That's right, they bring it in to you in the morning. You could just set the time the night before. So like I think we had it delivered at 8 a.m., completely curated, perfect experience, high level service, and we had our full breakfast, and we didn't have to eat till much later in the day. It takes a weight off, absolutely, honestly, especially if you're people that just walking around a lot and do get hungry. And if you're somebody that is that person who may actually pay for that convenience, I mean, 45 euro or probably 55 US dollars per day. It's expensive to some, but I can tell you, I bet a lot of people staying there do pay for that. So that's actually some really good savings. Obviously, I'm not going to factor that into anything else, but just so you know, that's the upfront savings for a property or an experience just like this. And you can see the same for a hotel that I did in Greece recently, where it also had continental breakfast overlooking the Aegean Sea, and actually was like one of the best breakfasts we ever had, where you can order food like a la carte, direct omelets and high level stuff like you would get at a restaurant, and then also the breakfast buffet that you can grab and go. When it's free, it just tastes better. So by being a gold member and booking SLH properties, you also get that, which I think is highly worth it. What's another property that I did? Well, one that I talked about for a lot of months prior to actually booking here. This was a property that while I was staying at it, in fact, probably on the same day that I was here, this property got devalued. I booked this when it was 130,000 points per night, and not that long ago, it was about 90,000 points per night. So this has been heavily devalued. This one went to 150,000 points a night, but it's still worth it for the points. Now, let me explain. Now, if you look at a cash price for this particular hotel, if we just take this off, the cash price for this specific hotel is about 1,283 Swiss francs every single night. But it doesn't kind of just end there, because this is one of the few properties I've seen, honestly, in the world that allow you to book a suite with your points or free night certificate. So I actually booked 2 nights here where I booked a Hilton free night certificate and 130,000 points. So you're able to book the junior suite, which doesn't have this view unless you're lucky, but it does have a view similar to this. I'll show you on the screen right here of our view from this specific balcony in this hotel. So you could see Lugano. This is on the Switzerland side, but a 30-minute drive from Lake Como. Really not too bad to actually get there. It's a little bit expensive, but I digress. And so I guess if we switch the currency and actually do it, the smart way to the US dollar, so it looks like we could only do the discount breakfast included. So I don't know. We could do the math for both, but whatever. Let's just call it, okay, fine. Let's just do $1,600. I think when we paid, it was technically $1,500, but let's just say it's 1,600 for the sake of vanity. So let's say it's $1,600 per night, which again, you can always argue, oh, would you ever pay that much for a hotel? Probably not. But you guys love your cent per point, so we got to do the math on it. And even at the devalued rates at 150,000, you have a cent per point of over 1 cent per point. Back when I booked it, it was actually, let's call it 1,500 multiplied by 100, and we divided by 130,000 points, giving me closer to 1.2 cents per point on this particular property, which is what we got. And this property was also pretty freaking insane. And I think we would have enjoyed it a lot more had we went directly to Switzerland from Milan, because of the direct train from Milano Central Station to the Paradiso stop in Switzerland side. And then it's like a 5-minute drive to the hotel. But given just all of our travel woes and expensive taxis to get there and up on a mountain, the hotel itself was actually like objectively really pretty insane. You can see this is the whole check-in desk, and then behind us is a whole parking lot where this hotel literally gives you a complimentary car to go and drive around in Switzerland if you want to. You're actually able to rent completely for free these smart cars and even a Tesla Model Y that you can take out. We did not unfortunately take it because, well, by the time we would have, it was already a little bit later in the day, and I just didn't want to deal with figuring out parking and all that. I think it would have been fine, but it was just easier to take like a $15 Uber down the mountain and over to a certain restaurant that we wanted to go to. But the option being there is very nice, and I definitely recommend, if you're going to this property, go there and stay there. I was too stressed out by moving from Lake Como over to Switzerland. I should have just picked one of the other. So if you're going to be going here, at least 2 nights, and just imagine that you're hanging out at the hotel. And then, yeah, a couple Ubers down the mountain and stuff like that. Absolutely. But check out this property itself. Here is the room. If you look when you walk in, it looks exactly like the pictures I just showed you. Huge bathtub, amazing shower that actually lights up. And you can probably see some footage of me right here in the shower in case you fancy that. The entire room, expansive room, bed, a bunch of lighting options. And then, of course, the balcony that opens up to Lugano, the lake in Switzerland, right there. Breathtaking view, very quiet, and again, like 30, maybe 35 guests in the entire hotel. Extremely quiet. I had the whole pool completely to myself right here. They have a mini salt cave, they have a sauna room. They have so many different things on this property. It actually has a Michelin star restaurant on the property. In fact, we ate at the other side of it, not directly in the Michelin star restaurant, but a little a la carte menu right next to it where we shared like a lunch here and overlooking honestly all of the Ticino region of Switzerland. It was very, very nice and actually really nice atmosphere.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, they're coming with a cake right now, so let's see. Yeah. When you come to the view, you get a view of not only me, but also this beautiful chocolate glazed mirror cake that only Jeremiah would love. Absolutely amazing. This is what you get at the view of Lugano.
The only thing that definitely was a little bit interesting is one thing I've noticed with these SLH properties, I guess a little bit of a downside is, well, one, it's nice to have the personalization and like the lower clientele, so like 30, 40 guests in there. It also kind of feels a little odd to walk around as like nobody there. Like not that many people walking around. There's really no hotel staff. It's just very sterile. So I've almost like appreciated less the really extremely high levels of these SLHs, like the 1500 to 2009 hotels. And I kind of really like the ones that are like 600 to 1000 range, like the one I did in Greece and this one in Rome. Much better experience. I felt like, and it wasn't so insane. Like, because once you get, and if I didn't mention, this hotel specifically in Lugano is a Michelin Key hotel. Once you get to Michelin Key, the level of service is so insane that you feel a little bit uncomfortable. So, just a little bit of a caveat for those of you who are not used to it. It's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing, I will say. But we also had a Michelin Key hotel in Greece, and that was also a great experience. A little sterile, but it was a little bit better. But I digress. So you can see in this video the hotels that I have booked, or even ones that I'm booking out for the future. I really love SLH properties, and I really do think that they are some of the best value propositions ones in the entire game. And it's the reason why that I got, a couple more Hilton Surpass cards in the last year. It's also why I want to apply for the Hilton Aspire card in the not so distant future for those points and free night certificates that can all be used towards these specific SLH hotel properties that give you outsized, insane value. And it's also kind of why I've transferred a lot of Amex points over to American Express, whether you think it's smart or not. I've transferred probably a couple 100,000 in the last 6 months to Hilton Honors just to book these specific kind of hotels because I just think they're that worth it in most cases. And of course, if you want to apply for any Hilton Honors credit cards, check out the link down in the pinned comment below. It's going to be one of our referral links. So this way we can get some points, you can get some points. And, I'm very happy to be able to book more of these places. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. And if you want to see where I recorded just outside of that Palm Suite Hotel, the one that's right next to the Coliseum, I did a whole platinum card review. Maybe you're tired about that, but basically just go there for the view if you want to see a nice Coliseum view. I thought it was pretty funny. But thank you guys for being able to the end. Appreciate every single one of you. Take care and enjoy.